All right, hello everyone. Um, so what we're going to go through today is unpacking of the standards. Standards, probably not going to be your favorite thing after this module, but with more practice, you'll understand them. They're all fairly similar. Um, so let's look at the instructional presentation this week. All right, what do you mean by unpacking standards? Our essential question: how do we determine, prioritize, and communicate specific social studies content in our classrooms? That's the what do we teach. Um, And in order for us to answer how do we know if students have learned it, then we need to know exactly what we're teaching and what is super important. Um, and so the standards that we usually break down are the we call power standards, the really important ones we want students to be able to do. So if you look at each strand here, you have K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12. So that's the learning where the each um, in this case, the Wisconsin social studies standards. Like this one here, tools geography by 12th grade, they need to be able to use printed and digital maps to ask and answer geographic questions. And they give examples there. Where are patterns? Why are there? So what? And evaluate the appropriateness of geographic data, and so on. In this, the person has circled the verbs explain, ask and answer, analyze, construct, recognize, and really what you want to do. And for me, right away, if I pick out a standard and I look at the verb right away, and how high level is that of thinking? And if analyzing is breaking down is pretty high level, so that'd be a pretty good one there. Uh, Going down. So each performance indicator is really just the standard. So right here, this is 6 through 8, middle school. Use paper and digital maps to ask and answer geographic questions. Analyze how various map projections distort shape, area, distance, direction, the Mercator map, Robinson, Peters, etc. Um, so the performance indicator is really here, and that really needs to be figured out by the teacher and sometimes teams of teachers, depending on the school. And you need to figure out what does proficiency look like? What does student success look like? If you're going to ask students to do this, how can you put it into their terms where they understand it? And how are you going to be able to know when they've done it? They need to know that, of course. Um, not so it's not so easy. So components of unpacking, you have the content, context, complexity, and evidence. Here it is, unpacking a standard. So this is geography standard. Um, Once again, it says create and label a map of the local community, state, tribal. So in this case, create their own map and labeling a map, either paper or digital. So, you could even pretty easily create what you want students to be able to do and even show them beforehand. So here's a map. They created a map and they labeled it. This is what student proficiency would look like. Maybe there's something missing in here that you would want, and of course you'd have to define that very well so then the students know. Um, so here we go, more unpacking. I'm going to kind of skim through this. I only have so much time with this Screencastify. Um, Here it is. So what would students be able to do? The skills and verbs in this case, in this standard, create and label. What knowledge or concept? They have to create a mental map. That's the what. The context within the community, state, tribal. It depends on what you want to accomplish here. If you want all of them, you have to think about doing one for each one. Otherwise, if you want them to choose one, it just depends. Um, then going down, here's the depth of knowledge. Screenshot, of course, you have complex reasoning. You want them to get the extended thinking. Obviously, you have to bridge that gap from basic recall on your way over there. So always keep that in mind. In this case, it's depth of knowledge 2 for completing and collecting and displaying. You could always up the ante. If this is all that the standard asks, you could go to the next level. Maybe you could think, well, that standard wasn't quite high enough level thinking. You can add in, even just write a short paragraph and bringing it to the extended thinking level.